Wait, what? The lantern hook is fixed to the wall by a cork. How do we take it off? With the knife, maybe?
How do you get smooth quartz block? Quartz, smooth quartz, block quartz.
Please stop trying to narrate what you're doing every step of the way. There's more to video game commentary than simply regurgitating what your character is doing. Gaming can be one of the hardest types of streams to keep chat engaged in your personality instead of the game. Large creators are the exception to this, of course, as they have already built up a loyal fanbase that will watch them regardless of the viewing experience. But for the majority of us, especially in the indie VTuber circle, we need a way to stand out. For those who are especially skilled at the game they're playing, it becomes less about needing to react as it is to show off your aim or speedrunning abilities. But if you aren't a god-sent gamer and just want to have fun but don't know how to remain entertaining, finding topics to talk about to an audience of 0 can be soul-sucking. Narrating exactly what you're doing is a starter for easing into filling blank air, but it's not interesting, it's not original, and it's not worth sticking around for. You want to step out of this area and upgrade your commentary abilities in order to entertain and stand out. To do this is simple. First, begin with self-reflection with me. What is your goal? Of course, you want to be entertaining, but what is your definition of entertaining? Not everyone sees it in the same way, and many of us have different and almost clashing ideas of entertainment. But in most cases, entertaining commentary is something that adds value to the topic. In this case, a game. Now, do you want to reach a certain niche of viewers? Or do you want to develop your identity around a certain style of commentary? These are things to think about before you really dig into the meat of this video. Now, there are a few categories I can think of off the top of my head that have catapulted creators into being wildly creative and successful on multiple platforms. These being comedy, role-playing, lore, and storytelling. Each of these categories has a different goal in mind which suits the content creator's personality and interests best. It also becomes a brand seller, as more people crowd around the uniqueness of such content. So if you want to leave the dime a dozen React streamer category, perhaps lean into one of these, which I will explain in more detail. Comedy. Comedy is honestly the hardest to master if you're not naturally inclined to being witty and capturing the moment. It entirely depends on timing. Comedy is not just your mom joke after that's what she said joke. It's about planning a setup and executing it with either a physical gag or a vocal reaction. I'll use Battle for example here since he has honestly caught my attention with his ability to slip between expected reaction and unexpected reaction.
I don't know what else to do. There's a pile of dog food in front of me, and I'm just. What is my life? I don't know. Guys, look!
You have the comedic, slowly slipping into insanity, long pause for dramatic effect that gets people excited to see what comes next, only for him to jump into promoting his merch. It's unexpected, and therefore humorous. Here's another example.
Nora, thanks for the 10 gifted! Woo! This kill's for you!
Again, this was set up. Bettel himself admits to it.
It's all planned in my head. You know, when you do something, you know, like a watch this moment, odds are, you know, you don't plan that you're going to fail. If it's a 99% rate of failure and then you act like you have confidence, it makes it funnier.
He knew he's bad at the game, he knew there's 2 enemies camping that choke point. He throws out the setup and expects the physical gag of getting shot immediately to carry out the rest of the joke for him. After that, it's all up to his reaction to let the laughter continue. Comedy is an art that requires timing and wit, and gaming is a medium to help push the joke along. You can do a lot with it regardless of the game, it just comes with experience. With comedy, this allows for a lot more leeway in your stream commentary. Not every moment needs to be popping, because if you lure in viewers by an amazing 30 seconds of jokes, you can expect them to stick around for another hour in the hopes of catching another series of golden moments live. It's always more fulfilling as an audience member to be there live for a moment that they know will be a successful clip on YouTube or TikTok. Roleplaying. Roleplaying is a great creative outlet for collabs or friend groups. You fully immerse yourself into the world and character and create a story through your interactions with the other players, or act as if the things in games have stakes. A Nuzlocke could be considered role-playing, since you're limiting yourself to the reality of death being permanent, and so you build connections with the Pokemon you have. But here's another example.
I'm just gonna watch the British line. Oh, they're all chanting to the right as well, look at them.
Present again, lads. Aim and are moving. And fire.
They're pretty disciplined.
Ninja warrior.
Get around and take a knee. Take a knee, everybody. You're the biggest penises in France. Napoleon loves you. You're going to run with me. We're going to kill the victims. We're going to take their women. And we're going to satisfy them. Place viva la
Vive la France! Vive la France!
Womble mixes comedy with roleplay to make for a compelling narrative filled with hilarious moments, since war sims are the perfect setup for both. Immersing yourself into the role of your character, but at the same time bringing in that teenage humor, forms a strange dichotomy that can't help but be unexpected and funny. This way, you get the best of both worlds from audiences who are interested in the game and storyline, but also those who will grow attached to your personality. This is not limited to games with story by any means. Sandbox games, battle royales, horror games, or even Skyrim are all perfect settings for diving into a character and playing in a unique way that draws in viewers or fans of the game. Lore. Lore is as it sounds. Your intention in the playthrough is to discover or ponder the story of the game through the hints and interactive items located within the map. This works great on new releases, but you can also recontextualize older games that perhaps your viewer base has likely never played. Even more so, you could deep dive lore on a game that seemingly doesn't even have any, or doesn't push world building into the spotlight. Lore is a majorly untouched market in Vtuber streams, so Shinri's lore deep dive playthroughs immediately found their way onto my radar. What makes him especially interesting is that he prefers horror games, and so the experience between someone playing a horror game and screaming to all hell and Shinri's calm playthrough is completely different. Playing a game for lore and talking to chat about potential reasons behind a mystery is a great way to keep people invested in stream, but also in you. If you're someone who likes to take things slow and pick up as many things as possible while playing an interactive game, this is a great style of content for you. And like Shinri, replaying older games that you've already played to death before you began streaming makes for a wonderful experience for the viewers when you're able to navigate the story in great detail.
I'll show you what happens when we don't mark the sigil. Yeah, I would like to show you one of the bad endings.
Storytelling. And finally, storytelling is when you focus on crafting an episodic experience with each of your streams. This often occurs in survival games like Minecraft or any sandbox game and builds a story out of nothing. This can intersect with role-playing, but take the Dream SMP for example, where they weren't playing characters. They built a long-running story, made challenges, and crafted arcs for each member of their team until it finally accumulated into defeating the Ender Dragon. Frankly, I never watched Dream or any of those Minecrafters, but from Twitter that's at least what I assume happened. Each of those players could have easily beat Minecraft in a few hours, and yet they decided to stick it out for 2 or 3 years building that story. And honestly, I think that was an incredibly smart decision. You can do the same or at least something similar depending on the games you play. You could even make it your brand to choose the absolute most Puritan, pacifist route in every game, which should be easy for Undertale, but gets impossibly hard for games like Apex. Viewers will be drawn towards your creativity and potentially being incorporated into the meat of the story that they'll stick around for any future games you pick up, knowing they'll get the same experience. There are other ways of entertaining stream, but these are the most notable ones. Others include achievement hunting, discussing topics completely unrelated to the game, reacting to chat builds in games like Genshin or Animal Crossing, or voice acting dialogue. At the end of the day, content creation means creating something worth sharing, something worth existing. For many people, due to various reasons, games we enjoy playing that may seem commonplace are just not possible to obtain for some people. In which case, they take to YouTube or Twitch to watch content on that game for hours and hours, finding a creator who will give them a fulfilling experience that satisfies their desire to play it. Anyone can do a simple React stream and be blank slates to the game. Now you can come in and be that difference by providing a new experience.